So it was a wholly one experience, having like sitting in between the others, seeing how their days look like, him like having like some role plays for the specific role that I'm applying for, and also having the conversation with the others. This was then after that the main reason where I said, okay, now I'm sure I want to work right here.
Hello, listeners and watchers and subscribers. Welcome to another chapter of the SDR Disco Course Show. I'm your boy, Neil Bhuiyan, your main man host. And this show is all about the world of tech sales and sales development. You may be asking yourself, if this is your first time joining, what is tech sales and what is sales development? Well, tech sales or technology or software sales is the world that we live in. So think of things like Zoom, LinkedIn, Dealfront, etc. And typically these are sold on a subscription. And when it comes to the sales cycle, at the beginning of a sales cycle, we have what we call sales development. So these are the people that are either bringing in the inbound leads of people that are interested in your software, or perhaps they're reaching outbound and trying to get people interested in them. And the reason for the show is to give you an insight as to the wonderful people that work in this industry and role across the globe. And my job is to find them and then pick their brains to help you out and get insights into that world. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe down below. And if you're listening to this in your local podcast platform, make sure that you subscribe and give us a rating. So with this beautiful guest that we have on board, I have to give a big shout out to Deepak Videra, because he was a marketeer from Dealfront that reached out and said, "Hey, Neil, are you looking for any guests?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, bro. I'm always looking for guests." So without further ado, I'd love to introduce. Could you please introduce yourself, guest?
Hello, my name is Katerina Tustea, and I'm from Karlsruhe, Germany, and I work for a software company, Dealfront. Dealfront provides or help customers to find the right contacts in their specific industries, and also give some hints when is the right timing to connect them.
I love that. Katerina, welcome and guten Tag, and thank you so much for joining us on this chapter today. So, Katerina, as you said, you're based out in Germany, you're working at Dealfront, super cool company. Could we ask you, outside of sales, Katerina, what do you like to get up to? What are your passions, interests, and hobbies?
Yeah, sure. I enjoy hanging out with my friends, going for a walk, sometimes a longer walk, driving the bike. So I'm looking forward that it's becoming a little warmer, springtime, to really have cool ride bikes with my friends. And besides that, spending time with my family, going to concerts.
Ooh,
Yeah.
lovely.
Sometimes also festivals. So this is my passion. This is how I spend my free time.
I love that. Thank you. We've learned something new. And I'm curious to know, in terms of music, what type of music does Katerina like? What do you rave to?
I don't know if you would expect it, but I really like to listen to German hip hop or hip hop in general.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah. I think it's always a little bit surprising. But besides that, I started to like electronic music a lot. Last year, I visited or traveled to Ibiza. So, yeah,
Okay,
enjoying this kind then of music. But yeah, I love to listen to hip hop, classic music, Tchaikovsky, and besides that, electronic music.
cool. Okay, we've got the same taste in music, which is really cool. So I love hip hop, I love electronic, and I've got a few friends out there in Ibiza. Okay, so I've learned something new. So thank you very much for sharing that, Katerina. So for our audience out there, typically what we do for our YouTube version is we're going to be visiting Katerina's LinkedIn profile. And with all of our guests, what we like to do is put their LinkedIn profile in the show notes so that if any of our listeners or watchers want to connect with Katerina, to, pick her brain on any of the topics that we discuss today, feel free to reach out and connect. And I've seen quite a few cool posts from Katerina as well, so definitely highly recommend giving her a follow. So, Katerina, if we look way back when, we can see that, you've been a work student, you've had a part-time role, you've worked at a really super cool company I'm familiar with, Randstad. You've been a BDE at EchoBot, and for the last year and a half, you've been working at Dealfront. And also, I'm really happy to say that you got your promotion to account executive. So, congratulations on that one. But you're more than welcome. And the question that we love to ask, the guests is, could you walk us from the beginning of, how did you get into sales? How did you get into the role? And obviously, we're going to be diving in to find out what happened. So, Katerina, give us your story. Tell us, how did you get into sales?
I think the most by accident. Really, when I'm looking back, I studied like philosophy and marketing or market research. So I always thought I'm gonna end in marketing. I don't know why. No one thinks about sales, but studying marketing behaviors or you always think you are gonna work in a fancy agency and trying to find the right campaign with the customer. But besides that, when I involving like my studies and continue, then I worked in retail, and I also did some marketing campaign as a part-time job for haircutter.
Okay.
Starting like she started then her Instagram profile, and I tried to put some content in there, and I applied for marketing jobs, but I don't know, maybe it's only Germany. They always say, okay, I'm giving you an internship, but without money. And we all know life is expensive. So I said, look, I can't work here for free, 40 hours. I can't ask my parents to give me money to have my rent paid. And then a friend of mine who was working as a key account manager said, look, we are searching together for new marketing jobs or traineeship in marketing. But in our research, we saw a lot of sales jobs who are open. And then she started to ask me, why don't you think about going into sales? Because I know you like to talk, you like to analyze things. I think you would be a good fit. And then I say, okay, let's give it a try. Then EchoBot had a traineeship open who was paying. And I said, okay, I'm gonna try. Went to the process for applying, and then I had a call. Okay, we want to have you in our team. And I really, when I joined and applied for the job, I had one day spending in the office and see how would my job look like, how are the colleagues. And really, it made me such an impression how the dynamic is there, and also between the colleagues. I said, well, I think I want to work here. And the call came, and I said, I'm go with it. I'm taking this traineeship. It was for 1 year, and if it's really not for me, then I tried something new, and I have some learnings out of it that maybe I can put into my next steps in marketing, for example. So this was the reason for also my way into sales. I just tried something new, and here I am now, 1 year and 8 months later.
I love that. That's such a cool story, and there are so many elements of this which I'd like to unpack and get a better understanding. So, where you said initially you accidentally got into sales, right? So with you, Katerina, you said, you wanted to study marketing, and that was the original angle that you went into. And then, helping your friend, or sorry, somebody like within the hairdresser or salon for their social media on Instagram and helping them. And then obviously, with your friend who said, well, you'd like to talk, so why didn't you get into sales? But I'd love to understand first, what was the interest in marketing? Why did you choose marketing first before going into sales?
This is a really good question. I had like this vision of the agency life. Really, a customer is coming into the agency, they have an idea, and we put this kind of idea into something. I had like the vision. We brainstormed. We brainstorming about this wishes that the client is having. Yeah. So at the end, it would be a problem solver, a creative problem solver. This was like my intention, my beginning, or why I wanted to work in marketing, helping, and creative helping with ideas.
And I love that, that creative element of, working within that agency life. Customer comes in and say, this is what I want, and then being able to help them put that into reality or something like that. And the reason I ask this is I've got my best friend, and he's recently studied marketing, right? And he's going through like an academy and a course. He's doing like the presentations and all of this. And a big part of me wants to say to him, come to sales, bro. That's where you want to be at. But so hopefully maybe I can use this episode one day to convert him to come to the dark side. But the other interesting piece you said, Katerina, was, you were helping out this friend with this salon to help, with their social media. And, this was free work, and you came to the realization of, okay, I need money. I need to live, right? Life is expensive, right? Could I ask, like, doing that for free, what things did you learn when you were doing it for free? What skills did you gain from that?
Being consistent, you have to post in a regular mood or a regular base. Being also really creative. If something isn't working, then try a new approach. Or when we see, okay, Instagram, a new angle. And trying to interact also with the people who are writing maybe some comments under the posts. And really trying, focus, continue value, bringing into for her content on Instagram for her, what she's offering. This were my main learnings that I think it's also now like in this new role, something that you have to keep in mind. And it's not, I think, only in sales, also in different departments. If you're working in product, in IT, trying to look on different angles and trying to also interact when getting feedback on things that you are doing, so you can involve.
100%. And I think for somebody, I've learned how to use social media for the last 20 years. And I've been on different platforms like Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok. And, I've got a creative mind because, I do music as well. And then trying to apply that creative side to social media with a sales mindset, trying to experiment with things. And sometimes I will look at other people's Instagrams and I'll think to myself, it looks really nice and clean. You can see the call to action, you can see the image, you can see the engagement. And sometimes I feel like I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be my own thing. So some marketing people, my friends say, Neil, it's so messy. Your Instagram is messy. The wall is nice and clean. I'm like, I don't care, because it's the content I want to put out to be authentic. I don't want to look like somebody else, right? But you're right. You learn these things, and not only does it help within marketing, it helps in sales and product and different departments. You need that creative element. Okay, so now coming back to that point where you're with your friend and you're both researching, looking for the role, and they say to you like, Katerina, why don't you work in sales, right? When your friend said that to you initially, what was going through your mind? Because you were that person studying marketing, and now somebody's saying go the other way. How did you process that?
Never.
I
don't see myself in sales. Sales, you have this conception, or this idea of salespeople. And I always, when I thought about sales, someone from a telecommunication, I won't say any names, but someone from a telecommunication company who is calling me and trying to sell me a new contract, for example. This was in my mind, and I think no. And also I think with like a lot of people saw Wolf of Wall Street, and I thought, oh, I can't do that. I can't do it with people like he did in the movie. I can't do that. I couldn't sleep at night. But she said, look, there are different parts of sales. I'm in the key account base. I'm talking with base clients. This is also sales. And it's also sales to sell something, for example, a product to other companies. It's not always B2C. And then I said, okay, why do you think that? When then she said, okay, you are communicative, you like to talk to people, you are always, you don't, you listen, and then you are giving your opinion, but always in a dynamic way. I think you would be a good fit. And then after I met with my friend, went home, and then I Googled sales.
Okay. I love it. Keep going.
Sales. What should a salesperson bring to the table? Watched a lot of YouTube videos. Started to listen to a podcast. I can't remember which it was, but it was a good one. And then I said, okay, just looking into the personality that the salespeople have to bring on the table. This could be, I see myself there. Okay, maybe it's gonna work. Then I started to look into the job offers, what they are searching for, and what they can also bring on the table. What would be like my involvement, or how I can build my skill set in a wider way, because I'm always open to learn. Bring me something on the table that I don't know, I'm gonna be interested to learn it.
I love that.
And then I saw the job offer from Ecobot. Then I said, okay, look, what is Ecobot doing? It's not selling to B2C, to people, it's selling to companies. And then I started to also watch some YouTube videos from Ecobot, saw the people behind that. Now we are bigger companies, but at that time you also could see like the people in the different teams. And then the decision was really fast made. Sit there, wrote my application, and sent my CV, and hope for the best, because I thought, okay, if it's gonna be sales, I want to work in this company because I see myself. It's in Karlsruhe where I live. It's not far away. It would be really convenient to start there. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Katerina, because there's so many things that I love about that journey, right? So you're speaking to your friend in key accounts, and she says to you, you could work in sales. You're like, never, right? But she says, look, you're somebody that likes to speak to people. You like to hear people's responses, and you give your opinions on that. You've got, you'd be a good fit. And then you tell me that you go home and you think about this more. So then you start investigating, you start doing your research. And I love how you said, right, I went on Google to find out what does a salesperson need to bring to that table? What skills do they have to have? And what I love is when people go do their homework, then they can see themselves in the requirements. Then you go look for the job descriptions, and then you start, comparing yourself. Could I do this? Yeah, I could do this. I could do this. And then you find, you listen to a couple of podcasts. Okay, granted, you can't remember it, but, it was good enough to help you give that insight. And then, you apply for a role, which is close to home. And the reason why I'm loving this is the other day, like yesterday on Instagram, on my personal Instagram, I share everything about this podcast. And the reason I do that, Katerina, is I want to teach my friends about getting into tech sales because I've been doing it for 20 years. And my friend Samuel, hello, he said, "Good morning, bro. I hope you're good. Have you got any content in regards to getting into tech? What advice would you give to somebody who's interested in getting into that industry with zero tech experience, but has a little bit of sales experience?" And like when he sent me that message, I was like, "Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you for asking. It's the best question in the world." And like we're going back and forth. We're like doing voice notes. I'm sending him the podcast and all of this. But you have just given the blueprint of what my friend needs to do. The research that you have to go through that. And then, ending up at EchoBot, that's freaking cool. So I also remember you saying, when you're coming into this business and you go for the interviews and you go spend a day at the office to see what is it like. And I like that. It's kind of like like a shopping experience. You're doing a free trial, right? You're getting the free trial experience before you pay and sign up. What did it feel like going into an office and seeing other people working, and what kind of questions were you asking them, Katerina?
Um, I think the main questions: why do you work here?
Mm,
What is your drive to work here? Since when you are working here?
mm,
And how your day would look like or is looks like.
mm,
Um, yeah, this would be like my main questions. And what keeps you here?
mm,
Why, yeah, why are you still working here? This
mm,
would be like my main questions.
mm,
Um, and also trying to talk to different people, not only the people who are doing the job that
mm,
I would apply for, but also talking with the manager, how the onboarding would look like. Yeah,
mm,
this would be, or this were my question. Um, and fair enough, we are having a in-house, or also at that time, a in-house person who is training new employees at that
mm,
time,
mm,
enablement. And I spent a day with her. After that, I spent the break
mm.
with the colleagues where I
Mm.
really could ask any question that I wanted to.
Yeah.
Um, and after that, I also got to know like my boss.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a wholly one experience, having like sitting in between the others, seeing how their days look like, him
Mm,
like having like some role plays for the specific role that I'm applying for,
mm,
and also yeah having the conversation with the others. This was then after that the main reason where I said, okay, now I'm sure I
mm.
want to work
Cool.
right
Yeah,
here.
I
So it
love
was a
that.
good experience. Yeah.
I think that's a really awesome way to kind of evaluate if this is the place that you want to be, right? So
Yeah.
speaking to different employees and asking, why did you join? What motivates you? What drives you? And it's a really good question to ask, why are you still here? Like, why do you stay
Yeah.
with this business? And then I think, not just speaking to the people that are going to do your role, but speaking to management, speaking to enablement, spending that quality time to really get to know, because you want to understand, is this a culture, not just a job that you can fit into, right? Can you vibe with these people? Can you feel comfortable around them? And I love that. And I think, a lot of people that I've met, they may not do as much research before taking that job.
Mm.
Sometimes just the research they do is the job description, they go for the hiring interview, they go for the final stage, they get the offer, they get the job, and then
Mhm.
3 or 4 months later, I then hear it wasn't what I thought it was. And I'm like, okay, but what research did you do before you went for the job? Oh, like I see people talking great about this company. They've got lots of revenue, they've got great customers. Okay, that's cool. That's what it's on the outside. But you want to know what's on the inside, right?
Mm.
And, whether I've been an employee or I've been a sales trainer, before I ever commit to any contract or do any deal, I spend time with that company initially to get to know them a little bit better.
Mhm.
So, even with the current company I'm working with today, my sales coach, before I signed and said, yeah, I'm going to be a sales coach, I met with the CEO, I met with the head of sales, I met with the SDRs, I met with the other coaches. We went out for dinners in London. I went up to the UK North to spend time because I'm thinking to myself, if I'm going to be here for a long time, I want to know that I'm going to enjoy this and I want to be cool with the people that I'm going to work with, right? So
Yes.
I really love how much due diligence you did before going into that role. I think that's freaking cool. But now I'm interested to know. So those first couple of months of being the SDR, cold calling, emailing, trying to pitch Dealfront, and I've had a lot of guests like Jan Mundorf, Matthias Sharper, that have come on to tell me DACH is tough. It's hard to prospect. But I'd love to know, Katerina, what has your experience been like and stories of prospecting in DACH?
Mhm. Uh, I can go on. It's really tough. The first 3 months, we in the company we always have a conversation after 100 days to give feedback from the employee side, but also from the leadership side. How's the process going, and how you fit also in the company. And to be quite honest, I could prepare how much I wanted, but it didn't prepare me into what is really meaning to do cold calls. And to be honest, I told you that I never had like experience in cold calling someone. So the first month were really, okay, what am I doing here? Maybe I'm not a quitter, but maybe I have to admit it's not that what I wanted or what I thought it would be the right fit for me. And the main reasons, looking now back into the first weeks and first month, I'm a person who thinks too much.
Okay.
And I didn't go with the flow. So I started with a script, and the script wasn't so my wordings. I didn't really feel so comfortable with it. So I sounded like a robot. And I always had some issues and struggled about the wordings. And I think that the prospect would also hear that I'm not confident enough on the phone, that I'm not being myself. So at one specific point, I tried, okay, remember every word that is saying in the script. Try maybe also putting some of my wordings in it. And after that, then there was the 100 days recap, and that went good. And I also got, okay, we have to see 180 degrees change, or we have another conversation. And also, I also thought, okay, yeah, I'm with you. It's not going. It's going well for me. But I don't know what's changed. What changed? I think, and this is also would be like something that I'm telling everyone who is starting: stick to it. Trust. There is a phrase. Trust the process. Stay on the line. Try different things out. Meaning, okay, if the script wasn't for me, write my own script. Trying my own wordings. Have a conversation, trying to pitch or to talk how you would talk to a friend. I had so many conversations in the evenings with friends of mine, sitting there, and then, okay, I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing. Pitch you, or trying different pitches. Yeah, and it went after that. After this 100 days, I think there was a change. Feeling more confident with my wordings and my script, it went so smooth.
Mm.
I started to laugh on the phone. I started to make jokes on the phone. And this was something that everyone also around me noticed. Okay, you are having fun.
You're in the zone.
Yeah, I'm now in the zone. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's not forced. It's just even if it was a no. Okay, it's a no.
Mm.
A no maybe for the moment.
Mm.
But I'm still having a conversation. I had a chance to learn something new about a different industry. Yeah, I had a proper conversation, even if it was a no, but I had a proper conversation. And trying to take this kind of successes. Oh, he didn't hang up. He let me pitch him, or she let me pitch her. This were the little successes that brought me then to the bigger one, booking meetings. And not meetings just okay, I've booked meetings for the A's. It was fun meetings, people who I really grabbed their attention and they wanted to see. They didn't just take the meeting because, oh, poor girl, let's give her the meeting.
Out of pity.
She's trying to call me so much. Yeah, there were cool meetings. So after the 100 days, there was like something changed. Yeah, like really a flip. Something changed, and it was a brighter time for me. The brighter side of life started, of the sales life started.
I love that.
Yeah, but really, if I can give advice, trust the process. Stick to that points that already work well. And if you are convinced that this is usually it would be a good fit, you are doing something that makes or brings you joy, talking with people, go, continue, just do it. Don't think too much. And if something isn't working out for you, then try a different approach. It could be for some people, it's going to be LinkedIn. I'm not good at cold calling. Then it's going to be LinkedIn. Or I'm really good at writing emails. Find your way, find your voice, and enjoy the ride, because the ride is going to get pace and it's fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And there are so many things within that whole that journey, Katerina, and thank you so much for sharing that's really beautiful, because the one thing that stands out to me initially is that 100-day review. So the review is with yourself, with leadership, with performance, feeling how you're feeling about doing this job for the first time, because this is something I've said to a lot of sales leaders. It typically takes you 3 months to get into this thing. And a lot of leaders sometimes only give a 1-month probation. I'm like, that's not enough. Because month one, you're learning everything for the first time. Month two, you try to apply those learnings and you make so many mistakes. Month three, things start to click. Or sometimes you get to the realization, this isn't for me. So it typically takes a quarter for somebody coming into sales for the first time to get it or want to get out, right? And I think where they're saying, okay, with these cold calls, the performance, it's not there, Katerina, we need to do something, or otherwise we're going to have another discussion. And, as a former manager, that's kind of like how I used to start my onboarding. This is a performance KPI driven role. If at any point the numbers are not there, then it could result in a termination. Hopefully it doesn't, but I need to just let you know, this is how we measure, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing that really made me smile is, if the script's not working, write my own script. Because you said you were feeling really robotic. And, it just wasn't feeling natural. It's not the Katerina that you know. And here's a funny story, right? Literally happened yesterday. I was coaching an SDR, and at the beginning of the call, this person's telling me that he's struggling with his cold calls. He's only 1 month in, right? He's struggling with his cold calls, so we do a role play. And as we're on the screen, I can see his eyes moving left and right because he's reading from a script, the one that he had written, right? And we get to the end of the role play, and I'm just like, this doesn't feel like you, and you feel really rigid, you know? But the thing is, I know with this person is outside of sales, they like to go boxing, they like to do sparring. So I said to this guy, okay, we're going to do this again, but this time I want you to turn your head and not look at the screen, because I didn't want him looking at the script. And I said to him, when you're not looking at the screen, I want you to close your eyes and I just want you to listen to my voice. And I want you to just talk to me, focus on the conversation. Okay. So we went for the role play and it was better than the first time. And I said to him, how did you feel that time round? And he said, it felt more natural. And I said, okay, now we're going to do something really crazy. I said to him, I want you to stand up. I want you to look at the screen and I want you to hold a boxing pose. And every time you ask me a question, when you finish your question, I want you to punch like you're in boxing. And when I stood up with him, I said, when I respond, I will say what a prospect will say, and then I'll punch back. And I said, I want us to be sparring as if we're in the ring on a cold call. And every time you do, and then when I hit him with the objection, he would have to block and then turn around like that, and we went back and forth, back and forth. And at the end of it, I said, look, dude, I've never done this with anybody before, but I just said to him, how does that feel? And he said, you know what, that was fun. And he said, that was tiring, but I get the point of, because now I'm thinking about my punches that I'm throwing when I'm talking to that prospect on the call. And sometimes I feel we have to put people in the environments that they love and try to relate it to the thing that we're trying to learn now. And that's how we do transferable skills. You know, that's the first time I've ever done a boxing role play for the call. But what I was trying to get to this guy was use your own style, use your own, because when I heard the cold call the first time, it sounded robotic, it sounded scripted. And then I said to him, moving forward, dude, when you do your cold calls, I want you to stand up. I want you to have your own speaker and I want you to walk as if you're in the ring and this is your opponent. Because like you're telling me that you can punch out a person when you're in the ring. So do it on your calls, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I digress. But you know,
This
like
is
you did your 180, you got to turn it round and you did that. And then checking in. So I'm also curious to know, like in DACH, because I know that you're familiar with the SDRs of Germany. What kind of help do you have, or what resources were you looking for in DACH to help you in your journey, Katerina?
SDRs of Germany is a really good point. I'm having like the luck to work in Dealfront. I have a colleague, Katerina, shout out, who is connected to SDRs of Germany. Yeah. And one of her tips was, okay, look at this this community. It's an open community. They're helping. They know what they're talking about. A lot of them are SDRs or started as SDRs, and they are helping you. There's something like, okay, roast your pitch. There are different events or recordings where what you can look at and having your learnings and also ask questions. So this environment was really helpful because SDR or being an SDR isn't so famous in the German market. Usually it would be like more the working students who are doing the cold calling. And it started, I think, in the last years that it became more famous being an SDR. And having also someone in this position. And this position not only being entry level, but also can be like a career path, a really career path where you can see, okay, I like to do that. I'm becoming maybe a senior SDR, coaching newer one, becoming a team lead, and go up. So you don't have to have in mind, okay, being an SDR and then becoming E. There are also a different way staying or continue your journey being an SDR. So yeah, SDRs of Germany, a really good input, really. to help you. And I think if I would start again, this would be like my first follow or follow button on LinkedIn, trying to absorb everything they are posting because it's helpful. Yeah, really. And otherwise, yeah, talking with your colleagues, absorbing what they are saying, maybe sometimes also mimicking or yeah, having this kind of approach that works for them, trying it by yourself, and having really the conversation with your colleagues every time. Colleagues in your SDRs team, colleagues in your from the AE team, leadership. I at one point I know that I'm always speaking to head of sales, decision maker in the sales department, or the decision maker in the marketing area. It depends on the sizes of the companies. But then I went to our VP and asked him, okay, if someone is cold calling you, what would be like your points where you said, okay, I'm gonna listen. Trying really, if you're knowing your buyer persona, having tools to help you, but also asking the people around you who are doing this kind of job for a longer time, and yeah, trying to embrace what they are doing and what helps them to have success. Yeah, this would be like, yeah.
I love that. There's so a lot of resources within that. So obviously, counting on SDRs of Germany, really support them and salute them what they're doing out there with Mattia, Jan, and the whole crew, and Helena as well, and shouts to Katerina as well. And I think they really get it, and I 100% agree with you there. And that thing of where you said in Germany initially, like it wasn't so cool or famous to be an SDR. It was maybe the student people doing the cold calling. And now in the last year or so, it is cool to be an SDR. It's always been freaking cool to be an SDR, right? But what I also love is, like you said, speak to your colleagues, your other SDRs. Go speak to your marketing department. Go speak to your AE department as well. But you going up to your VP of sales of like, what would you like, or how would you expect if you get a cold call? What things should I consider? And sometimes people forget the type of personas you're trying to reach out to from your company to another company. Those personas exist in your own company, right? So I've worked in different industries like cybersecurity. So when our SDRs were trying to reach out to CTOs, they're very hard people to get hold of because they're very secure. So I'm like, why don't we just go speak to our own CTO and ask him, how should we approach people like you, right? When I've worked in a company that have sold to HR and we're trying to sell to CHROs or VPs of talent or VPs of people, they're struggling. Oh, Neil, I can't get it in. They're not responding to my message. So I'm like, we've got Linda, who's our VP of people. Maybe we should go ask her. How would you like it if a salesperson reaches out to you? And we forget we have the enablement in our own company, right? So I think it's really cool how, you're able to approach those people to ask their feedback on how to approach. I think that's really cool. I know that we're coming up for time, but the one last thing that I wanted to ask, because I know it's still early days, but now you have moved to the promised land of an account executive, right? So congratulations on the promotion. And as you said, you're still going through your onboarding to becoming an AE. I'm just curious to know, what is it like to go through onboarding as an AE? What's that like? What things are you learning, or what does that onboarding path look like, Katerina?
Sometimes it remembers or reminds me of my beginning at as a SDR. It's a different approach. In our company, it was okay booking the meeting, understanding the situation, maybe going into a main pain point, what is going to be discussed with the AE. This at one time I was really good at it. I knew my job. I knew what I have to do, what information I have to give to my account executive. And now being this kind of person, we also change a little bit of our sales doing, because sales is always changing. You can't stick to current process. You always have to involve and go with the dynamic around you. So it's a new way of selling, and having like, okay, I really have to have every information that I can show, not the product, that I can show the value that I can bring. So it's a little bit difficult sometimes because, oh fuck, I missed the question. I needed really to this kind of question to bring really value on the table. This would be like a wow effect for the customer, because it would like help him in so many ways. So really to understanding really fast the situation, and also the pain that is currently in that kind of company. And then switching into a proper demo, a personalized demo, and only showing not the product, showing the value, how the prospect can use our platform in his daily doing. He doesn't really have to change everything, because people don't want to change everything. Then they would like say, okay, if it's too complicated, maybe not. No, how the solution that how Dealfront can like bring value in their daily doing, and make it just better, the life just better. So to answer your question, it would be like, okay, there are different kind of questions that I have to focus on, a different kind of value that I have to bring to the meeting, and also to understand or bring it right to the table. Okay, do we have enough to make a decision? Do you need something more? Because if a company is bigger, you have to bring more stakeholders to the table. But even if you are talking to a champion, after a meeting, does the champion have everything to bring it to the CEO, for example? So it's a different kind of question that stick to my mind, and I have to learn different phrases. The closing part, of course, this is so different, and also knowing the tool in and out, knowing really the product, and to skip between the discovery part and doing a demo, showing the prospect something that brings value at the end.
That's a really great insight. And the reason why I say this, Katerina, this is so cool, and thank you so much for sharing, is, with a lot of us sometimes, and I see this on LinkedIn all the time, people that really want to get promoted as quick as possible. So maybe they do the SDR gig for 6 months, 9 months, they want the AE life. Some companies and some people go through that process, but and I can't remember the exact stats, but a high percentage of people that get promoted too early are not successful in the AE role. So those people that have taken at least 12 to 14 months in SDR life have a higher probability of being successful in the AE role. But as you've just alluded to, it's a different way of thinking compared to booking the meeting just for the account executive. It's different types of questions. It's different types of processes. It's a different type of understanding of how does this impact the customer's world and their day-to-day working, their routines and how they're going to do it. And obviously closing the deal. So it's like a completely different world, and it is a different process just to book in a meeting and giving a demo. And admittedly, I really struggled in my AE life. It wasn't easy. And, even as a business owner where I have to close deals in my own company, it's not easy, bro. It's tough. But I've understood that the things that I learned as an SDR is if you can really focus on having meaningful, great conversations, asking great questions, having a really good process, having a really good follow-up, if you can do these things in the beginning, then it will naturally turn into great closes because you're having a great process ahead. So, I wish you all the best of luck and happy selling. like for the coming months and weeks that whilst you're learning all of this, and this is really cool. So, it's been absolutely amazing, Katerina, to have you on the show today. And the question I'd love to ask you, if we're speaking to the Katerina of a few years ago, who was, doing free social media stuff, thinking about an internship, unpaid for a salon, and then, your key account manager friend said, hey, why don't you work in sales? What 3 bits of advice would you give to that young Katerina?
Good question. I would say my first advice would be try new things, be open, go with the flow, and don't think too much. Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katerina. And are there any shout outs or kudos that you would like to give on today's show?
Yeah, sure. A shout out to my former SDR team. They know who they are, my work bestie, and also the leadership in my SDR position and now in my new AE position, doing the onboarding on this part. So shout out to the people around me because they're supportive, they help, and yeah, they make it so much easier.
I love that. So shouts out to the crew and the team out there. And again, a big, massive thank you to Deepak for introducing us and bringing this about.
Thank
And the thing that I really want to give a bit of love to Deepak is he's a marketeer that reached out to me to help me find guests. And he introduced me to yourself. Deepak has been the only marketing person that's ever followed up to say, hey, Neil, are you and Katerina booking this in? And I'm like, yeah, we've got it for today. So I'm like, okay, that's really cool. And then he said to me, okay, great. When it's all recorded, we'd be happy to share it on our socials, give it some support and love. And I was like, thank you, my bro, because not many people do that. So again, a marketeer helping out a sales guy, I rate that and I really love it. So again, thank you. Shout out to Deepak. And again, a massive thank you. Yeah, 100%. And a massive thank you to all of our listeners, watchers and subscribers today. So if you've enjoyed what Katerina's discussed and shared in her insights and her stories, her LinkedIn profile will be within the show notes, and feel free to connect, reach out, and ask any questions. And equally on our YouTube channel, if anything is piqued your interest, or you agree, or perhaps you have a difference of opinion, please put it down in the comments and let us know what you think. And again, if you're listening to this on your local podcast platform, please make sure that you give us a rating and share this episode with anybody that you think could get value from Katerina's story. And on our YouTube channel, please help us out by giving us a like, comment, and subscribe down below. Katerina, I wish you all the best in your AE life, and I hope to bump into you again in the near future. But have an awesome weekend, and most importantly, happy selling.
you so much, Neil. Bye bye.